Welcome to So Very Easy. My name is Laura, and today let's talk about foot number 73. It's a stippling foot, but it doesn't mean we need to just do stippling. Foot 73 is what they consider their stippling foot. And if we look at the bottom, it is an open toe foot. We do have some markings along the edge of that foot to help guide us, but it is an open foot. It is not a thick foot, so we would not be using ruler work with this, but it does give us a really good visible area to quilt. So what it's designed for is free motion quilting. This foot is designed for the Bernina machines that have that nice way of attaching it with that little hook on the back. So this will fit any Bernina machine that has that type of foot, which means it will also fit the Q series. If we have a vintage Bernina machine, you can get a foot that will fit the vintage machines. So this foot does have a spring on it that's going to make it easy to go over top of our fabric. When we turn that wheel, it has that foot move up. So we're having less space so that we can go really tight. And that raises the foot up off of the fabric. So if we have a very, very thick quilt, we're going to be able to adjust this. So that adjusting knob is going to make it really easy for us to quilt. If we have a really thin batting, we're going to have this go all the way down. The thicker the batting, the more we're going to be able to move that up. I'm often asked, where can I get these feet? Well, really the best place is your local sewing machine store. Any store that sells Berninas will be able to get you these feet. You can also go to a sewing machine repair shop and they can often get them for you. You do need the right foot for your machine. The foot does come with that instruction manual. On my 790, I do not have a setting for foot 73. So when I go into my settings, I'm going to be able to use 72. 72 is designed for ruler work, but the setting can be used. So I'm going to put 72 on. I have a straight stitch. I'm going to adjust that pressure on the foot to 0. The only additional thing I need to do is drop those feed dogs. I've put that foot on, and that's all I need to do. And we can adjust the speed of our machine to how we feel comfortable. I personally like mine quite fast because I want to do some tiny, tiny little stitching. So play with your speed until you come up with something that you're really comfortable with. With this foot, I do want to make some tiny, tiny little micro stitching. So I will either wear gloves or I can use this sort of a steering wheel. And this slides on and it holds that fabric so that I can do some really, really tiny stitching. But it's just something additional. But you do not need to use this. I'll be moving my thread to the top. And I do like to start with my needle down, and I do have the needle down position on my machine. So whenever I stop, the needle stays in my fabric. Because this is a very thin quilt batting, I've adjusted this little brass wheel so that there's very little space. And you can always test that. So I'm going to start off with some tiny little stippling. So my stitches are super, super tiny, so I can do tiny little designs. And having that foot open gives me a very good area to see. This particular foot is in a brushed silver, so it's just not so shiny. And let's do some little C's. And I find I have really good control from this wheel. So if you look at my hands, you'll see that I just have this very, very little movement. We can also do large patterns. When I'm finished a certain area, I could just pick up my steering wheel and move it. And if I don't want to use it, I could just remove it. So now I can use my hands. So it really is a lot of fun to use. And it gives us beautiful stitches on the front and beautiful stitching on the back. So if you want to try a little bit of stippling or some free motion quilting, be sure to check out a foot that has an open toe in it, like the 73. And if you can find one that fits your machine, that has an adjustment, it'll be a lot of fun for those thicker battings that we do like using. And it is important to get the right foot for your machine. I'm just lucky this one will fit my domestic sewing machine, but will also fit my Q20. Thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe, and as always, come on back. Let's see what we're talking about next time in the sewing room. Bye for now.